Hi guys, PJ here. Today working on a Skoda Fabia 2019. We're going to be fitting a dash cam into the vehicle so it's connected to the fuse box. This is completely plug and play, so you can remove it if the vehicle's lease or you just want to put it in your next car. So there's no soldering, no cutting of wires, it's just plug and play. For that, we're going to be using a fitting kit. Fitting kit in question is made by the dashcam manufacturer, Nextbase. I mean, these are available for all different sorts of cameras, for all different brands, whether it's Blackview or Garmin. You can buy the Pacific fitting kit. So this is an example, if you like. Now, in the fitting kit, let's have a look at what we get. So we get a replacement power cable, which basically terminates in bare wire. So we've got black for earth, red for power there. Nice and easy. This particular one is mini USB there. A ferrite filter, which we wrap around the power cable. I'll show you that shortly. This is to suppress DAB radio interference, okay? On that note, if you have a rear dash cam that you're fitting into your vehicle and you have DAB radio, do expect a lot of DAB interference problems. Front cameras, not a problem. Rear cameras, big problem, okay? So anyway, there's your suppressor. And then you have two fuse spurs. We don't need the larger one. This is for commercial vehicles or older vehicles. Some Mercedes still use them. We're not going to need that at all. We're going to use this, a mini blade fuse spur. Now what this does is basically double up a fuse socket into two power supplies. So in other words, you will remove an accessory position ignition switched fuse from your fuse box. Plug this in. Put your fuse that you've taken out your fuse box in the gap provided so it runs the original circuit, and then you have a 2 or a 3 amp fuse like this one here to run your camera. Obviously the power cable coming off joins to this power cable. I'll show you how to test for the right fuse and what to look for on your Pacific vehicle. Right, next up, what are ideal tools to use? Try and assemble something similar to this. 2 or 3 cable ties, I'll show you what they're for shortly. A multimeter or a test probe screwdriver, so in other words one of them little screwdrivers that lights up when you touch a circuit, need one of those. Electrical tape, some cable snips, some long nose pliers to pull the fuses out because they're quite recessed. The vehicle does come with a plastic tool to remove the fuses, but they're not too clever and they don't pull the fuses out very well, so I always use these. And probably the most important tool of the lot, a plastic leverage tool, okay? You buy these normally in packs. They're available eBay, Amazon, car shops, that type of place, and they're normally sort of a couple of quid, no more. Do not use a metal screwdriver to ply plastic dashboards. You will 100% damage the vehicle. It'll look a right mess. Get one of them, invest before you even start. Okay, so first things first, on the Skoda, the fuse box is located here on this year, and we're going to basically put our fingers underneath and gently pull. Okay, look, it's on lugs at the top, so it sort of levers out and down, giving you access to your fuses. There we go. Next up, we're going to open the driver's door, and that's where your leverage tool comes into play, because we're going to pop this panel off, which I'm going to need both hands to do. But basically, this side one here, you can normally pop it off. You'll hear plastic lugs pop off. It's not a problem, they're meant to come off. Just lever away, there you go. Move that out of the way. Exposing two 13mm nuts. These are ideal for your earth. So what we're going to do is remove one of these 13mm bolts. Like I say, the dashboard's not going anywhere. It's not, you know, it's held in by other things besides these bolts. Take the bolt completely out, and this is going to be a really good earthing position for your black cable, which we'll prepare shortly. So take this out completely. Really long bolt. Right, so to prepare our cable, you open up your ferrite filter. It's on a hinge, little clicky tabs on it there. And what we do, we basically put the cable through it, wrap it around the back of it, and back out of it again, like this. So to be clear, when it's open, through the centre of it, wrap it round the outside of the casing, and then back through and out, and then snap shut, as so. Moving on down the cable a little bit further, we're going to pop a couple of cable ties round it and snip them, and that's to help pad the cable out so it doesn't fall down from the headlining above the window screen of the vehicle. Like so. And then what we basically do is cover them over with tape, electrical tape, just because when you cut them they're a sharp edge. We don't want them rubbing the inside of the fibre headlining. go ahead, tuck this up above your headlining all the way along to the windscreen pillar. Like so. Be very careful with the headlining, it's incredibly fragile. So you just want to ease it with your fingertips until you get to the corner here and then behind the airbag. Next up, we're going to ease the rubber seal off all the way up, and behind here you'll find your airbag. We're going to tuck the cable behind that and then down the screen pillar to the edge of the dashboard. At this point we've reached this corner, so there's your power cable lot. With the black earth cable that we've removed the bolt for, they come with this little feeble spade connector. I'm going to snip that off, put a nice ring on it and washer it as well so it can sit nicely on the bolt here. These can snap and cause a dodgy earth connection, so bear that one in mind. So we'll get on with that right now. And so we end up with this setup ready to go back into the original location hole. Tighten that up nice and tight, and that'll be a really good earth point for your dash cam. We're going to tighten that up. We're going to run the red power cable. We've bunched all this up out of the way, that'll be popped in here. We're going to run the red power cable down here through, drop it out near the fuse box. Sometimes you have to undo these TX25s just a little bit just to make it have enough room to pop the cable through so that it terminates out here. Just loosen them off enough each side so you can push it back and make a bit of a gap for your cable to come through. Like so. You can pop your hand all the way down to here, there you go, look, to get your cable through. We're now going to test which one of these is an accessory position fuse. We won't be using anything to do with airbags or ABS or anything like that. So if the ignition off, we're time to get our meter out. So with the ignition off, we get our test probe popping on top there, on the edge of the fuse. 0 voltage. Generally speaking, on these Skoda Fabias, the central row here is ignition switched. These are always live. So this particular fuse, look, touch, 0 volts. Then we turn the ignition on and that will register 12 volt. And there we go, ignition on. That fuse is an ignition switched that we can turn the ignition off and pull out. Oops. Sorry about that, guys, just knocked the camera there. So we take that one out and it goes in our fuse spur. The fuse spurs are available separately. You can buy them on eBay, Amazon, local car shops, etc. And generally speaking, they're a couple of quid, they're not dear. So if you don't want a kit and you just want to get the wiring done, you can buy a fuse spur. So anyway, pop this fuse in there, which I can't do one-handed, as you've probably guessed. Let's do a camera trick. There we go. And then basically paying attention to the orientation, pop that in there like so. Tuck your cable down out of the way and we're going to plug that into there. Tighten your screws back up and then we've got a good time to test the camera before we click everything back together again. So the last thing you want to do is have to take bits of trim back off again. Plastic clips, they're not that strong, so the minimal amount of times you can unclip them, the better. And there we go, look. Okay, so let's go test the camera. With camera mounted, ignition on, and there we go, ignition off. Now you know that your camera works, you can go ahead, tidy all your cabling up, bunch it all up like this, and pop it in this large recessed area just here. Pop your end plate back on when you've tucked all your cabling neatly away. Just sort of slides in, and then click, click, click. Put your fuse box cover back on. Fuse box cover hinges from the top, so it's this way around. And there we go. That's it, guys. That's how you fit a dash cam to one of these Skodas. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below. I do my best to answer all my questions, but bear with me because I get inundated with hundreds of questions every single week. So if it's something you can answer yourself by a quick Google or, you know, ringing a shop, then please try. But if you've got a genuine inquiry, yeah, pop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer you as quickly as I can. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.